systematic theology. UNISA is one of the largest open distance learning education universities in the world, and I'm involved with theological ethics and systematic theology.
Today you presented at the Transatlantic Roundtable on Religion and Race here in London. Let's know the title of your presentation.
The title was The Language of Diversity and the Reconstruction of Whiteness in the Dutch Reformed Church. The paper looked at some of the main threads in how the concept of diversity is unpacked in the religious and theological language within the White Dutch Reformed Church, and pointed out some of the problems associated with that. Primarily that the language of diversity does not provide a way for white people to interrogate their position of privilege and power, but rather just focus on difference and on the other, but not on their own problematic position of whiteness.
So I've been following your blog, and you recently wrote a piece, Am I a Racist? Just give a synopsis on that and the feedback that you've been receiving.
Well, in South Africa, white people struggle with the language of race and racism, and particularly over the last few weeks there was some heated debate again, and someone wrote a piece which kind of made fun of the whole thing of people being called racist, and I responded by saying we need to deeply define what it is and acknowledge that we struggle with it. So I tried to say that every day stuff happens where I have to acknowledge that I'm still racialized. I still look at the world through a way that we as whites were taught, and I'm struggling with it, like an alcoholic is struggling with alcohol for the rest of his or her life. I'm struggling with the problem of racism, and I'm a recovering racist. So that was my own answer to the question, am I a racist? Some of the feedback, mostly positive from friends. There was some critique, obviously, but mostly positive from white people struggling with the same question. What does it mean in our context to also be a moral person? And one person called me up and said, listen, will you come and speak to us about this? Because the language of being a recovering racist, that speaks to our own experience as well.
Do you think there's need for more of that dialogue amongst white South Africans?
Yes, definitely. We tend to silence these conversations. It's painful, it's difficult, and we don't know how to do it. We don't have language to engage these issues, so we tend to just silence it, saying, apartheid was 18 years back, and let's not talk about it. And there's definitely a need for a deeper conversation amidst white people, but also between white and black people in South Africa on these very difficult questions.
How do white Christians in South Africa maybe deal with issues of poverty, of the conditions of Africans in South Africa? Is that woven into their faith, into this conversation of race and racism?
There's obviously a widespread within the category white Christian, but in South Africa at this stage there is definitely a growing awareness that issues of poverty and unemployment should be an absolute priority within the churches all over, and that include congregations that are predominantly or exclusively white. I think there is a deeper question behind that needs to be answered, and that's the question of privilege, which these congregations come from. But white Christians, I think, are deeply aware that there's a crisis in their own country and that they have a responsibility to, in some way, be part of a solution, although they don't always know how to.
Well, I enjoy your work and I appreciate your struggle. I'll continue to follow you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.